Have you seen the well-to-do up and down Park Avenue on that famous thoroughfare with their noses in the air, high hats and arrow collars, white spats and lots of dollars, spending every dime for a wonderful time. Well, you're blue and you don't know where to go to. Why don't you go where?
Are you sure the dinner's going to be ready on time, Dorothy?
Quite sure. I've been in the kitchen burning it for most of the day.
Just I so rarely have people for dinner these days.
I thought you preferred mutton, actually.
Pardon, dear?
Sorry.
I'm sorry, I thought you spoke. Would you mind drawing the curtains, dear? It's really rather cold in here.
Oh, love to. Nothing better to do with my time. Auntie, that's the elephant!
Oh, is it? How terribly careless of me. Is it damaged?
Well, it's a little scorched down one side, but I think it'll be okay. You really should start wearing those little spectacles, and then we wouldn't have these little accidents, would we?
I couldn't possibly, dear. They make me look old. I know I am old, but if I'm not wearing the spectacles, at least I can't see that I'm old. Do you know that elephant was a present from Colonel Craddock? A gift from India.
Well, they're meant to be unlucky with their trunks raised, and that one very nearly was. Oh, we're out of logs. I'd send for Bunting if I could find him.
What do you mean, dear?
Well, gives me the shivers. He's always lurking around the place, sneaking in dark corners. You never know when he's going to leap out next.
Oh, don't exaggerate, Dorothy. Bunting couldn't leap anywhere. He's simply not capable of it.
Well, he definitely lurks. I don't know why you keep him on. He's hopeless.
Bunting, I could not possibly let him go. Why, he's practically an institution here. Do you know, it's going to be marvellous having a house full of guests again. It's going to be just like the old days. Oh. Do you remember? It must be 2 years, Dorothy, since we were all together in Paris. On that holiday. Oh, happy days. I'm so looking forward to seeing Colonel Craddock. Oh, and young Pierre, of course. He is such a charming man. He made me feel quite young. Oh, maybe it was the Paris air. Do hurry up and fetch Bunting, dear. It's really quite chilly in here. Bunting! I do wish you would announce yourself at the door. And put that axe down. You look like a madman.
I can't chop logs without it, ma'am. I'm not an exponent of the martial arts.
Well, there is no need to bring it in here. Now, just put a log on the fire and put the rest by the side.
I just brought the one, ma'am. It was rather heavy.
Bunting, I don't know why I bother.
I didn't realise you did, ma'am.
Just put the log on the fire.
As you like, ma'am. Will there be anything else?
My guests will be arriving shortly, so I suggest you station yourself by the front door, and then they won't have to wait for 10 minutes.
By the front door, as you like, ma'am.
And we'll be wanting sherry once they've all arrived.
Sherry, ma'am, as you like. Would that be the best sherry, ma'am, or the cooking?
Bunting, really the best sherry, of course.
I only asked because there's very little of the best left. About half a bottle?
But we only restocked recently.
You must have drunk it, ma'am.
What? What did you say, Bunting?
I said you must have drunk it, ma'am.
Now look here, Bunting. I think it is time you remembered your position in this house.
I'm aware of my position, ma'am. I'm in the lounge at the present time.
Bunting, stop answering back.
I should try to curb my naturally exuberant nature, ma'am. Will that be all?
Yes, thank you. Reorder more sherry next week. Door, Bunting! Do you know, I think you might be right about Bunting. He is becoming quite insufferable.
I caught him trying to chop logs on the kitchen table the other day. I ask you, with all that food around. Oh, don't worry, he barely manages to hit anything.
You know, we are going to have to keep an eye on him. I'm sure he's back on the sherry again.
No, I thought we'd weaned him off that after the last time.
Well, if he goes missing, this time we'll know where to find him.
Oh, incidentally, I heard some gossip about him down in the village. Apparently he's been telling someone about his lurid past, an affair he had with a woman years ago.
Oh, I find that highly unlikely, Dorothy. I mean, Bunting. Who would want him? Oh, that'll be the guess. I thought they were never going to get here.
Shall I get it?
No, don't worry, Bunting can earn his keep for once. Now, Dorothy dear, do I look presentable?
You look just fine. Now sit back and enjoy the weekend with your friends.
Thank you, Dorothy, for organising everything. I really don't know how I'd manage without you.
Bunting, Ma'am.
Where are the guests, Bunting?
You instructed me to announce myself at all times, Ma'am.
Not when there are guests to announce. Now, let them in immediately.
As you like.
Thank you, Bunting. Mildred, how nice to see you again.
Mildred, old girl. Hi, my dear, let's have a look at you. By Jove, you look younger every time I see you.
Oh, Charles, really?
And how's young Dorothy? Still keeping an eye on the old battle axe, eh? Marvellous.
Colonel and Mrs. Craddock, Ma'am.
Pardon, Bunting.
I said Colonel and Mrs. Craddock,
I
Ma'am.
know, Bunting, you introduce the guests before they enter, not 5 minutes later.
They didn't give me the chance, Ma'am. Will that be all?
Would you please take their bags to the green bedroom?
The green bedroom, as you like, Ma'am.
And more
I'm sure I'll manage by myself.
and more guests will be arriving shortly.
How very delightful for you, Ma'am. I expect you want me to position myself by the front door so they don't have to wait.
Thank you, Bunting.
As you like, Ma'am.
Door, Bunting! Oh, you will have to forgive Bunting. He's just not himself these days.
Bunting. Bunting. Sure, I've seen him somewhere before. Never forget a chap's face.
But of course you've seen him before, Charles. You've been here before.
Huh? Have I? Oh, yes, of course I have. Still, a peculiar fellow, though.
Of course, Margaret, this is your first visit here, isn't it?
Yes, indeed. And I must say I'm very impressed. The grounds seem to be huge.
7 acres.
Oh.
Of course, the estate is thousands, but it's managed by tenant farmers these days. Do please sit down.
Thank you.
Charles?
What? Oh, sorry, miles away. Still trying to place that queer fella. Never forget a face. Only the other day I came across a chap I hadn't seen in years. Recognized him at once.
And Mark.
Why, Beaky, old boy, I said. How you keeping? Chap was absolutely amazed.
What, that you recognised him?
What? Good Lord, no. Said he'd never seen me before in his life. Got quite abusive. Seemed to object to being called Beaky. Bit of an odd chap, as it turned out.
You're not going to bore us all weekend, are you, Charles, with your pathetic, boring stories?
Sorry, old girl, just a spot of fun.
You wouldn't be the same old Charles without his stories. I find them rather amusing.
But then you don't hear them as often as I.
Would anybody care for a sherry?
You know me, ready for a snifter any time. As long as the sun's over the yard arm, of course.
Dorothy, dear, would you call Bunting?
I'll go. I don't think he could cope with any more jobs.
My poor young gal. If I were 30 years younger.
But you're not, Charles. It must be rather nice for you having a young person about the house.
Oh, yes, it is. Though I don't know how she puts up with me sometimes. I'm really quite irritable these days.
Old age comes to us all. Take Margaret here!
I really am very grateful to Dorothy, but I sometimes think she ought to be socialising with people of her own age. But as I keep telling her, there really is nobody suitable round here, and one cannot afford to lower one's standards. Still, if she keeps taking my advice, she will be most handsomely rewarded.
Really?
Well, none of us live forever, Margaret. And when I'm gone, then Dorothy will benefit most handsomely. I have no other relatives.
But I thought you did have other relatives.
No, none at all. I've seen them all off. But of course, Dorothy was so young when her parents died. Tragic circumstances. My sister's fault, really, for marrying the wrong sort. He squandered and drank away most of her fortune, and he drank the rest, and they ended up penniless and hating each other.
Oh, sounds dreadful. How did they die?
It was a suicide pact. They killed each other.
Oh,
Yes. It was more of a murder because he hacked off her head with their last remaining decent piece of silver. Blunt, but rather attractive, fish knife. And ironically, he died the following day as it transpired she'd been poisoning him for months. Dorothy holds me to blame, I feel, because I simply refuse to settle their debts.
Oh, come on now. Oh, this morbid talk's getting me depressed. What, did I ever tell you
Sorry,
about the time that...
Bunting and Pigment.
I still can't place the chap. Damned irritating.
Don't worry about it, Charles. You're about to tell us one of your stories.
Was I? Don't suppose you can recollect what it was about? Dashed if I can remember. Still, it'll come to me later. Anyway, here's to us all the very best of health. Don't seem to make sherry glasses to last these days.
Oh, please do help yourself, Charles.
Well, I wasn't suggesting. Still, if you insist.
I wonder if you'd excuse me while I freshen up. It's rather an exhausting drive down here, and especially with Charles at the wheel.
I'll show you to the room, Mrs. Craddock.
Oh, no need to bother yourself, my dear. Excuse me.
Still got the old banger then, Charles.
Well, Margaret.
I meant the car.
Oh, I see what you mean. That's not a banger, that's a Bentley. Wouldn't be without her. Still, I take your point. She's getting a bit temperamental in her old age. So's Margaret, come to that.
Auntie, I'm just going to check on dinner. Is there anything else you require?
No, thank you, Dorothy. Thank you. Well, Charles, how have you been?
Ooh, not bad, you know. A lot of stick from Margaret. Seems to think I spend too much time at the club. Can't understand her. Chap needs the company of other chaps. You know where you stand with chaps.
Stop rambling, Charles. You know what I mean. When are you going to take me up on my little proposition?
Steady, old girl. You're putting me in a dashed awkward spot.
Do you remember 30 years ago, Charles?
Of course I do. As I remember yesterday. 1906. Kent won the county championship.
The year we met. The year our affair started.
Dash! Lord,
Ever since then, Charles, you have been promising me. Next year, the year after that...
well, we're getting too long in the tooth for all this sort of stuff now, old girl. Chap tends to slow down a bit.
I am not expecting it, Charles, to be the mad, passionate thing that it was. All I want is you. I want your company and your companionship. I'm not asking for the world. I just want you here with me.
What about Margaret? I can't let the old girl down. Not after all these years.
But you don't love each other. Not like we did, like we still do. We should have taken the plunge years ago.
That's just the point, old girl. We've left it too late. Yes, there was a time when your Albert died that we might have made a go of it, but not now. We're too set in our ways. Margaret depends on me too much.
No, you're wrong, Charles. You belong here with me. I will never let you go until the day that I die.
That's it! Oh, Mildred, it's gotta stop. All these letters you keep sending me at the club. Dashed embarrassing for a chap when his mail stinks of perfume. Other chaps are starting to talk. That form won't do. Got to end.
No, Charles, it won't end. You are all I've got left. What if I was to tell Margaret about us?
Mildred, you wouldn't do that, would you?
Well, it's time she knew. This weekend.
You don't think what you're saying.
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to barge in. Would you...
I think you're right, Dorothy. I was just saying to Charles that Margaret ought to know.
Mildred!
I think she'd be rather amused about my little affair. Oh, accident with the elephant.
Oh, yes, that, of course.
Oh, yes, it would have been a terrible mess if I hadn't rescued it just in time.
Yes, I expect I would have done. Tricky beasts. Came across a lot in India, you know.
Oh, another guest.
I'll go. I think Bunting's upstairs, and short of sliding down the banisters, it'll take him ages.
Oh no, don't worry, Dorothy. You do far too much running around. I'll go. I won't be a moment, Charles.
All right, Colonel Craddock, you look rather pale.
Just a spot of mental indigestion. A bit of a problem cropped up. Still, nothing we can't put right. Other guests, you say? Do I know them?
Oh yes, we met them in Paris. Pierre Mosseux and Elizabeth Hartley-Trumbull.
Marceau. Nope, no recollection whatsoever.
Well,
Foreign chap, is he?
he's French. You don't remember Elizabeth either?
Oh, no, that's a different matter. Pretty young gal.
Yeah, that's her.
Rather well endowed, as I recall. In the financial sense, of course. Enormous assets.
Now, you remember Dorothy and the Colonel?
What a marvellous lounge you've got, quite quaint.
Well, thank you, Elizabeth. I must say I was surprised that you arrived at the same time.
It was such a stroke of luck. I just settled on the train with the boring old book, and Pierre came and joined me in the same compartment.
I have the happy knack of finding myself always in the company.
Oh, he's been talking like that all the way. It's certainly brightened up such a tedious journey. Going through all those working class areas where those grotty people live. Quite ghastly.
Your chap's quite right, of course. I've got an eye for a pretty young gal myself.
Well, one does one's best to look presentable.
I suppose one has to.
Why? Dorothy, I didn't see you there. Isn't that sweet? You're wearing that lovely little outfit I so admired all that time ago in Paris.
Would you like to sit down? Would you care for a sherry?
Oh, wouldn't say no, girl.
Dorothy, would you mind?
So what brings you over here, Mr.
Oh, Charles, you remember Pierre?
Oh, yes, of course.
He's a painter.
Oh, yes. I thought the old place looked in need of a coat or two. What?
I come to sell some paintings, I hope. I stay maybe 2 or 3 weeks, depending upon my success.
Ah, I see, I get your meaning.
Man's an absolute genius, quite super.
Oh, you flatter me, Elizabeth. I come to sell some paintings, and unfortunately, I have to rely on other people's work. You say a wheeler.
I don't know how he drags himself away from such brilliant little town, Paris.
Possible. Don't care for that enormous iron erection. But damn civilised licensing hours, of course.
Yeah, when the fashions, one has to go at least twice a year for the fashions. One can't go around in old rags, can one, Dorothy?
Fashions? Can't see the fuss. Oh, a waste of time, if you ask me.
But if you will excuse me, Colonel, that is the trouble with you British. No daring, no sense of adventure.
No lack of daring in the British, old boy. Agincourt, Waterloo, get my point. No use you chaps wearing fancy hats if you keep getting them shot off.
Oh, Charles, please, let's not fall out.
Just making a point.
I'm sorry, I have offended you. I withdraw my words.
Tactical retreat, eh? Now there's a thing you chaps are good at.
Bunting, Ma'am.
Yes, what is it, Bunting?
I wonder if I might have a word, Ma'am.
Yes, carry on, Bunting.
Oh, as you like.
Where are you going?
To carry on, Ma'am, as you instructed.
No, carry on and tell me.
Ah, I thought you meant for me to carry on with my duties, Ma'am. You
No, what
usually
is-
tell me to carry on when you want me to carry on.
What is it you want to tell me, Bunting?
It's just about the accident, Ma'am.
What accident?
In the kitchen, Ma'am, a slight mishappening with the axe. The head fell off at some considerable speed, Ma'am.
I shall check it in a moment, Bunting.
As you like.
I think perhaps we should make some plans for the weekend. Any suggestions?
Oh, I was thinking about getting a spot of shooting in. Damn good sport around here, if I remember. You like a bit of shooting, do you, old boy, old chap?
I prefer to create rather than destroy. I would not know one end of a gun from the other.
Oh, well, old boy, you are French. Quite understandable.
Was there something else, Bunting?
I was wondering if you want me to take any action in the meantime, ma'am.
What about?
The fire, ma'am.
No, I think the fire's fine, thank you, Bunting. You can bring some more logs in later.
I meant the fire in the kitchen, ma'am.
You don't have a fire in the kitchen, Bunting.
We do now.
What?
Oh, just a small one at present. On the stove, although the dinner is starting to look somewhat overcooked.
Don't just stand there, Bunting. Go and help.
As you like, ma'am.
I knew something was going to go wrong this weekend. I just knew it.
Don't worry about it, old girl. I'm sure everything will turn out shipshape. Extraordinary chap you've got there. I was going to borrow him myself for the shoot. Got second thoughts now. Damn liability.
Colonel, I do wonder, perhaps I could join you on the shoot. Daddy always said it wasn't really a thing for girls.
Quite welcome, my dear. No danger if you know what you're up to. A high valley, $600.
You can't possibly mean 6 o'clock in the morning.
Of course I do. Early bird and all that sort of business. You don't need stout shoes, no clothes.
I don't own anything like that.
Oh, I'm sure Dorothy could lend you something.
No, I'm sure she could. I just hope nobody sees me.
Well, if they do, we'll just have to shoot them. Dead men don't tell tales. Fancy a stroll before dinner now and wrecking the ground.
What a splendid idea. Pierre, would you like to join us?
If you will excuse me, I would prefer to stay here. I am rather tired after my travels.
Oh, well, if you're sure.
Do not concern yourself with me. I'll be perfectly happy here.
Come now, you can't force the chap. Suppose we'd better ask Margaret if she wants to come with us.
Well, Pierre, if you're sure, please do help yourself for a drink.
Where is everyone?
They are taking a walk. Have you repaired the dinner?
Yes, well, I don't think it's going to be quite the same, but I don't think anyone will notice the difference. Taking a leaf out of your book, Pierre.
But I have no book.
Well, you were admiring your paintings.
I was admiring them, yes, but they are not mine. Such finesse. I wish I had the talent to paint so well.
A work of a famous French painter, you said when you sold them to my aunt.
That is true, and one day they will be worth many times the price that your aunt paid.
Oh, I'm quite sure the originals will. It's just such a shame that these are forgeries.
But what are you saying? You were with your aunt the day she purchased them. We had them valued by another gallery.
And yes, and then you swapped the originals with the forgeries. You knew my aunt was ignorant of art and that you'd never noticed the difference.
Never have I heard such a cock and cow story. Elizabeth can vouch for me. Many times I've had dealings with her father.
I don't give a tuppence about Elizabeth or how you swindled her father. Do you think I'm a fool, Pierre? I may not know about art, but I have a very good eye for detail.
But you are making a very big mistake. I swear to you that these are the originals.
Well, in that case, you won't mind if I telephone the police?
But you are wasting your time. You will make yourself look foolish, and your aunt will never forgive you.
That's a risk I shall just have to take.
Stop! Wait! Please! Put down the phone. Perhaps we should talk a little more.
So I was right. I wasn't quite sure. Take it from me, Pierre. Never play poker. You would lose very badly.
So you have tricked me. What happens next?
Well, that rather depends on you. I'm not a vindictive person, so let's assume that this is your first offence.
But it is, I swear.
Oh, well, you shouldn't, because that's a very bad habit. My aunt paid you how much? £2,000?
I gave her a special price of 1,900.
Oh, you're all heart, Pierre. Well, I suppose for £5,000 I could have a lapse of memory about this conversation.
I do not have 5,000.
Well, as you were so generous, I'll give you a special discount of 4,900. You have a week to pay, or then I shall call the police.
But that is impossible. A week is far too short.
Well, that's all you've got, and you want to count yourself very lucky, Pierre, because if my aunt ever found out, I don't think she would be quite so forgiving.
We've abandoned all thoughts of the walk. It's far too cold out there.
I think Pierre's finding it rather hot in here.
Really? Oh, please, Pierre, do remove your jacket. There's no need to stand on ceremony amongst friends. The others have gone to change for dinner. Now, the dinner is going to be all right, isn't it, Dorothy?
It'll be fine, I'm quite sure.
Thank you. Now, Pierre, I'm sure you've seen the paintings have pride of place. They do so cheer up the room.
Yes, the paintings.
I am so pleased that you persuaded me to invest. Now, I know I haven't had them terribly long, but I wonder, how much do you think they might be worth now?
About 2 years, I expect.
Pardon, dear?
I said you've had them about 2 years. Well, Pierre, go on. How much are they worth?
It is difficult. Almost 5,000, I would say.
Really? That much? You see, I knew I had a bargain, Dorothy. She never really cared for them.
No, but I'm starting to see their good points now.
Now, I wonder, what paintings have you bought to show me this time, Pierre?
I have nothing for you.
Oh, but you have all your bags in the hall.
They are not suitable for you. They're already sold.
Oh, not to anyone I know, Pierre.
Fortunately, Dorothy, no.
That's a shame.
Joanna, who can that be? I'm not expecting any more guests.
Shall I go?
No, dear, Bunting can earn his keep. I'm definitely starting to have reservations about him.
Oh, you should have seen the state of the kitchen earlier. It looked as though a battle had been fought in there.
Bunting, ma'am.
Yes, who is it, Bunting?
Bunting, ma'am, I just told you.
No, Bunting. Who is at the front door?
Ah, Miss Maple, ma'am. I observed her approach from the conservatory windows.
You mean you haven't opened the door to her yet?
I thought you may wish to ignore her, ma'am. I've heard you remark on occasion that she's an interfering busybody.
Really, Bunting? Oh, you'd better let her in.
As you like, ma'am.
She could have ignored her.
No, I couldn't do that.
Well, she might have gone away if you had.
She means very well. She lives in the village when she's here. She's always off on trips and holidays and things. And the most curious thing is that when she goes away, the most dreadful things happen. People seem to get murdered.
Yeah. They positively drop like flies. She's become quite famous for it.
In that case, Dorothy, we shall have to be very careful.
Bunting, ma'am.
Oh, get on with it, Bunting.
As you like, Miss Maple, ma'am.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Bunting. Oh, I hope you don't mind my calling me Mildred. I didn't realise you had visitors.
Oh, no, that's all right, Joan. You didn't see the Colonel's car in the drive, then?
A car? Yes, yes. Oh, how very nice to meet you, Colonel.
Oh, no, this is Pierre Marceau from Paris.
Oh.
He's one of my guests.
Oh, dear, oh, how silly of me. Well, how very nice to meet you, monsieur.
Enchanté, and very nice to meet you also. But if you excuse me, I must go and prepare myself for dinner.
Oh, that makes you sound like a turkey here, waiting to get served.
Excuse me, ladies.
Ooh, what a delightful young man. His accent rather puts me in mind of a Belgian gentleman I know. Have you several guests staying there, Mildred?
Yes, just a few friends for the weekend.
Oh, how delightful a party! Oh, and I can't help noticing that delicious smell emanating from the kitchen. I expect you've excelled yourself, Dorothy. Thank you, Miss Maple. That's very kind of you. But I mustn't keep you. You'll want to enjoy yourself with your friends, won't you? And I have a very small cold collation prepared for myself. I was rather hoping that my nephew will be calling by to see me, but it seems he's rather tied up with one of his young gentleman friends. Anyway, I must be leaving. I only called because I thought that Dorothy might be going away for the weekend, and I hated to think of you all on your own up here, Mildred. But anyway, I have my small collation?
You don't have to leave straight away, Joan. Do please stay for a little while.
Oh, no, I could not possibly disturb you. I expect you'll be dining soon.
Yes, would it be no trouble?
Oh, no, I couldn't intrude.
No, you wouldn't be.
Oh, very well, as you are so insistent. Oh, I promise you I have the appetite of a sparrow. You'll hardly know that I'm here.
You're staying for dinner?
Oh, it'd be most churlish of me to refuse such a delightful invitation.
Well, if you'll excuse me, we'll be eating in 30 minutes.
What a delightful young girl. You know, she so reminds me of myself at that age. Quite charming. Now, if I remember correctly, you purchased those paintings from Pierre Marceau.
And I have never regretted it.
Oh, I do so love art.
That funny thing just happened. Sorry, old girl, I didn't realise you had company.
That's all right, Charles. This is Miss Maple from the village. Colonel Charles Craddock.
Oh, delighted, Colonel.
One place here, Miss...
You were just discussing the paintings, Charles.
What paintings, old girl?
Well, the ones I bought from Pierre in Paris. Oh, but of course you left, didn't you, before he showed us his collection? Well, you must tell me what you think.
It was a master.
Charles considers himself to be something of an expert.
Oh.
I've never said that, Mildred. Never been able to afford much myself. Bought the odd one for the club, mind. Anyway, let's have a look.
Well, there's one there, there's one there.
Not bad, old girl. Not bad at all. Seen this chap's work before.
Oh.
Quite passable. Damn good copies.
Copies?
Yes, of course. You did know.
Yes, of course I knew.
You were saying that something funny had happened, Colonel.
Was I? Yes, of course I was. Dashed funny. When we called off the walk, I brought my 12 bore and my old service revolver downstairs for young Elizabeth to inspect. 12 bore's still there. But the revolver's gone missing!
Oh, dear. Oh, how unfortunate.
Unfortunate? Oh, damn dangerous if you ask me. Like it was loaded. Could cause a serious accident.
Yes, well, perhaps it was one of the other guests playing a little joke on you.
Maybe. Don't see the funny side. Damned irresponsible messing with a chap's private bits and pieces. Could go off any time. Not cricket.
Not cricket? Oh, no, certainly not cricket. Oh, but cricket, isn't it such a relaxing game? You know, my nephew is very good. His friends tell me he's a bit of a left arm bender. I think they're talking about cricket.
Bound to be. Spinner. Used to bowl the odd googly myself. Anyway, things to do, mustache.
How very disturbing for the Colonel. Have you known him a long time, Mildred? Mildred?
Oh, I'm sorry. Did you say something?
I was asking about the Colonel. How long have you known him?
Oh, it seems like forever. Would you excuse me, Miss Maple? I've left a book in the dining room, I think. I think that's where it is.
He must have cut quite a dashing figure in his younger days.
Oh, yes, he was very fine in his uniform. The ladies used to flock round him. Now, where did I put that book? Oh! Oh, you gave me quite a shock. I see that you have found...
Mildred? Mildred?
What is it? What's happened?
It really is quite unfortunate. I seem to be bringing people such awfully bad luck. Oh, your aunt has been shot. Dead.
Hindus and Argentines sleep perfectly well to watch.
Just exactly how long do you intend keeping us waiting here, Constable? 30 minutes? And absolutely nothing has happened.
Oh, I'm sure it won't be long, madam. The inspector, he's just familiarising himself with the layout of the house.
Oh, tell me, Constable Tompkins, I was wondering whether it might be one of the inspectors with whom I have worked on previous occasions.
Oh, I don't believe so, Miss Maple. Actually, he's an acting inspector. Apparently there's a nasty flu virus over at Milton. Plainclothes are very thin on the ground.
So, in fact, we've been kept waiting by a sergeant? I really don't see the necessity. We gave you our statements last night.
Calm down, old girl. Get nowhere by trying to rush things. Expect they're just following routine. We'll have routine in the services. Lose your discipline if you don't.
I don't care how long they keep us here, as long as they find out who called.
Sit yourself down, my dear. Dash rotten business. And we want to keep the old stiff upper lip, eh?
There's a little blood everywhere.
Mr. Bunting, perhaps you might get the young lady a drink.
As you like, sir. Here we are, Miss Dorothy.
Thank you.
That's the ticket, my dear. I'll soon calm you down.
Yes.
Try not to think about it. Best way.
Yes, I know. I'll be all right in a moment.
Of course, a bullet does such terrible damage to the skull at close range.
Really, Miss Maple, do you have to?
Oh, I'm so sorry. Oh, how thoughtless of me. Oh, it's just that I have become so used to these things. You know, the blood, the brain.
So this will be the lounge.
Have we been kept waiting all this time just so that you could make such an obvious deduction, Sergeant?
Inspector Pratt. Yes, it was obvious, Mrs.
Craddock.
Well, Mrs. Craddock, that's the way I operate. Start with the unmistakable and then proceed to the unmistakable. For instance, have any of you here noticed that this elephant had recently been roasted? Oh, I thought not.
It's more usual for elephants to be poached, oh boy. Just trying to lighten up the proceedings.
And you are?
Charles Craddock, Colonel Charles Craddock, retired.
So the wife of Mrs. Craddock here. Are we all assembled, Thompson?
Tompkins, sir?
Yeah, all right.
They're all here, sir.
Right, then I'll begin. Now, I should listen to this very carefully if I were you, Thompson. We're a bit more sophisticated down in Milton than you are out here in the sticks.
Sophisticated? Yes, sir. Is that one F or two, sir?
Now, the reason I've gathered you all here is to ask you some inquiries and questions about the unfortunate circumstantials of yesterday.
Inspector, is that quite necessary? We did give our statements to a gentleman last night.
I'm quite aware... Oh. I'm quite aware of that, madam. But I like to see things for myself. A good detective can spot a villain a mile off at close range. Right. Now, we're all in the very room where Mrs. Bogshot was so cruelly cut down in her pride. So what I'd like to do at this stage...
Excuse me, sir.
What is it, Thompson?
Tompkins, sir.
Oh.
Well, Mrs. Bagshot wasn't actually in this room, sir. She was in the dining room, by the door, sir.
I'm quite aware of that, Thompson.
Oh, sorry, sir.
As I was saying, the shot which so fatally killed Mrs. Bagshot was fired from this very room. So what I'd like to do now is to...
Sorry again, sir.
Thompson, what is it now?
Well, the shot wasn't actually fired from this room, sir. The murderer was in the hall, sir, and fired the shot through the doorway, sir.
Thank you very much. But I don't think we need to be such sticklebacks for detail, Thompson.
Tompkins, sir.
The bullet, which killed Mrs. Bagshot, passed through the very room in which we're now standing.
Oh, without a doubt, sir.
So, what I'd like to do now is all take up the positions in which you were in when the fateful occurrence occurred. Where are you all going?
To do as you asked, Inspector.
They're all elsewhere, sir. All except one, sir.
Then why did you assemble them in here?
You asked me to, sir. In the lounge, you said, sir.
Are you trying to make me look a fool, Thompson?
Oh, no, sir. That's the last thing you need.
You'll need to buck your ideas up if you want to make anything of yourself in this force, Thompson. Right, for the sakes of briefness and brevity, I'll conduct the questioning in here.
I wish he'd make his mind up.
So, which one of you was in here, alone in here, when Miss Bagshot was so cruelly cut down in her prime?
I fear it was me, Inspector.
And you what?
Miss Maple.
And your surname, Miss Mabel?
Oh, Maple's her surname, sir. She's somewhat of a celebrity in the village.
Thank you, Thompson.
Tompkins, sir.
And the reason for your celibacy, Miss Mabel?
No, it's hardly that, Inspector. It's just that I have been used to this kind of thing many, many times.
Murder?
Most regrettably, yes, Inspector.
Regrettable indeed. So, you were the only person in the room when the bullet passed through. Did you see anything?
Yeah, no, I'm afraid not, Inspector. It was travelling rather too fast.
As I suspected.
I did overhear her very last words, Inspector. She must have seen the murderer. She said, "So, you have found." Then the shot was fired. I ran towards her, but on inspection, Inspector, she was dead.
Did she say anything?
No, Inspector.
Well, thank you, Miss Marvel.
Oh, it's my pleasure, Inspector. I only wish I could be of more help. Mind you, I hope you don't mind me mentioning it, but perhaps it would be just less confusing if you were simply to call me Joan.
Now then, Colonel Craddock.
Yes, old boy?
It was your gun which was used to perpetuate the crime to happen.
Afraid so. Some bounder stole it from the hall.
Now that's careless. Very careless indeed. So, put all that together, what we got? Thompson?
Oh, I don't know, sir. Mrs. Bagshot may have been trying to say, so you found your gun, implying she saw the Colonel, sir.
I was wondering how long it'd take to work that out, Thompson. So what do you say to that, Colonel?
Preposterous! I was in the lavatory down the hall.
Do you have witnesses?
Of course I don't, man. Chap doesn't take witnesses in a little boy's room.
Well,
Not unless he's up to no good, of course.
Well, according to the statements, your wife was in her room. So, where were you, Miss Artley trumping thing?
Elizabeth Hartley Trumpington.
Where were you?
I was in my room, just taking my bags up for me. I was changing.
Changing. So you were scantily clad in your underwear.
Naked, Inspector, quite naked.
Oh, right, now, I need to talk to Pierre, our mysterious Frenchman. There. Where was he do? Where was he do when the shit was started?
Inspector, Pierre does speak quite excellent English.
Oh, well, in that case, I'll conduct my inquiry questions in English. For those of you less affluent than myself. In English, then. Where were you when the shot bang was fired? Was in that room. She does speak English. So that leaves two unaccounted for. Your name?
Dorothy Foxton. Mildred was my auntie.
So that will make you a nephew.
Her niece, Inspector, I helped her.
Or did you have trouble getting about?
No, not really. Look, I live here.
So why mention her knees?
Look, I live here. I heard the shot and...
So there's a connecting door between the kitchen and the dining room, sir.
I'm quite aware of that, Thompson. So, what did you do, miss?
I ran into the hallway and there was nobody there, and then I came in here and then I felt
Oh, thank you, Miss Foxtrot. Now, that just leaves you.
Bunting, sir.
Yeah, I deducted that. The faithful family container. Where were you?
In the cellar, sir. Stock taking.
Oh. Now, where is the cellar? Down there. Is there a door?
At the end of the hall, sir.
Well, you can show that to me later on.
As you like, sir. It's just an ordinary door.
Connecting door. Very interesting indeed. So that where does that leave us, Thompson?
7 possible suspects, sir, and not a corroborated alibi between them.
Look here, Inspector, you can't think it was one of us. We're respectful people, that's it.
And you have a better theory?
Of course I do. Thought you'd work it out yourself. Burglar fella enters house. Finds gun. Spotted by Mildred. Blighter shooter!
That is a possibility, Colonel. A very strong possibility.
But Mrs. Bagshot does seem to have recognised her killer, sir.
Which is why I dismissed it immediately. Why are you trying to cast suspicion elsewhere, Colonel? Watching Thompson.
What are you suggesting? Complete balderdash!
Right. So where do we go from here?
I suspect I know where inquiries are leading, Inspector.
You do?
Oh, yes. In my experience, it is a most crucial point.
Oh, yes. The utmost cruciality. Right, I'll let you take over from here, Thompson. It'll be a good experience for you.
Oh, thank you, sir. I assume we're looking for a motive.
Oh, well done, Constable.
Yes, what was the motive?
I don't know, sir.
Now, there may be a will. Yeah, invariably a very good starting point.
Thank you, Miss Maple. So, does anyone know?
Thank you, Thompson. I'll take over now. Does anybody know of a will? Does anybody know of a will?
I think I may be able to help you, Inspector. Auntie did mention it to me once. I believe it's held with the solicitor.
Oh, do you know the terms?
No, I'm afraid I don't.
Oh, pity. Anyone else?
Begging your pardon, your lordship.
Inspector will suffice.
Or Sergeant.
Mrs. Bagshot did say that should anything happen to her, she'd leave me a small pension. Would that be all right, sir?
Well, it's not up to me, is it? Did she say anything else?
Well, I did once overhear her talking to someone about the terms of the will, but I didn't get the details, sir.
Who was she talking to?
I'd rather not say, sir. I don't want to get anyone into trouble.
Trouble! That's it! That's how I know your face. Some kind of trouble! Have you ever been to India, Bunting?
Excuse me, Colonel. I'm asking the questions here. Are you ever into India, Bunting?
No, sir.
Pity. Another dead end.
I think Mr. Bunting was going to tell us about the will, sir.
Oh yeah, I hadn't forgotten, Thompson. Yeah, well, the will.
I don't remember, sir. The question,
You
sir.
don't remember what?
Don't remember the question, sir. It's the shock, sir. My legs have quite turned to jelly.
Jelly? Don't trifle with me, Mr. Bunting. You were going to tell us. You were going to tell.
Who knew about the will, sir?
Good, well done, Thompson. You're getting the hang of it now. You were going to tell us about the will.
It was Miss Dorothy, sir.
Aha! Now we're getting somewhere. So why didn't you tell us about this before?
Because my name, Sergeant, isn't Dorothy.
The reason I didn't ask you about the will before, Miss Foxhole, is that I knew you were upset. However...
You did actually, sir.
When?
A moment ago, sir. She denied all knowledge.
Yeah, thank you, Thompson. So, why did you lie, miss?
Well, I thought if you knew that I was to inherit the largest part of the estate, then you would all suspect me.
I've had my suspicions from the start, Inspector.
Well, I didn't kill her. Why doesn't anybody believe me?
I believe you, my dear.
Well, fortunately, Miss Marbles, I'm not so gullible. Miss Foxhole here had a very strong motive, and what's more, she had a very good reason. She was in the kitchen, which gave her access to the hall. She was able to steal stealthily into the hall, where she stole the gun. And shortly after stealing the gun, she stole stealthily into the doorway and shot Mrs. Shotbox!
I didn't do it!
Charge her, Thompson, charge her.
Pardon, sir?
Charge her, then we'll take her down the station.
Can I have a word, sir? I don't think we can charge her, sir.
What's the matter with you, man?
Well, we haven't got any real evidence, sir.
Of course we have. We're the police, we can make it up.
You couldn't make a real case, sir.
Well, of course we have. When I finish with her, she'll be putty in my hands.
Oh, I was only thinking about your reputation, sir.
What?
Well, if we couldn't make it stick, if we couldn't make a real case, sir.
Right, that'll be all for now. But don't leave the house. I may have further inquiries and questions for you all later on.
What about me, Inspector?
And that applies to you, Miss Foxhole, especially to you.
Oh, this is ridiculous. Don't leave the house indeed. I shall be reporting you, Sergeant.
Perhaps I could make us all a nice pot of tea. I do find that so helps to calm the nerves. Come, my dear.
Wondered if I could have a word, old boy. Somewhat confidential, delicate matter and all that.
Yes.
Bit tricky. Wouldn't want my wife to get wind.
Well, she got history.
What of?
Wind.
You're missing the point, old boy. Can I rely on your discretion?
Naturally, Colonel. Nothing you say will go any further than my ears.
Thing is, I do know a bit about the will. Mildred said she was going to leave me £5,000.
I don't think that sum needs to concern us, Colonel.
Bit more to it, old boy. If I happen to survive Dorothy, her share of the estate is to pass to me. Bit unlikely, but...
That'd be a great deal, sir. Why would she leave it to you?
Well, that's the delicate part. She and I were good friends.
But she must have had many friends, sir.
Some, yes. But over the years, we had a very close relationship. A liaison.
Oh, an affair, sir.
But I wouldn't go that far. More of it was yes.
How long's this been going on?
Do you mind, Thompson?
Close on 30 years. Died down in recent years, of course, but hate the wife to find out. Wouldn't want to upset the old apple cart, if you take my meaning.
I don't think that will be necessary, Colonel. We're all men of the world.
Dash grateful. All this sets a chap's head spinning. Think that's everything, though. Made a clean breast. Any objection if I take a turn around the garden?
Well, there's no need to take turns, Colonel. We've got plenty to be getting on with in here.
Good show. Glad we understand each other. Mr. Maple!
We'll deal with this, sir.
Never seen such a thing. Got a chap have brevity!
Miss Maple, I hope you weren't doing what I think you were doing.
Oh, certainly not, Constable, no. I was returning to retrieve my knitting. I seem to have mislaid it. Look, there it is. Oh, I wonder, would either of you care for a fruit scone?
Oh, I wouldn't say no. Thank you very much, Miss Maple.
And I expect the inspector would like one too.
What do you think of the case so far, sir?
I don't know. It's a tricky one, Thompson.
Tompkins, sir?
So many suspects and not a corrugated alley barber between them. That woman who just left the so-called Mabel Marbles, she worries me. And why is she so keen to be known as Mrs. Jones?
Actually, her name's Miss Maple, sir.
And that Colonel Haddock, very fishy. Does he know more than he's saying?
Oh, I doubt it, sir. Why would he tell us so much in the first place if he was guilty?
Oh, well, that's easy. As soon as he saw me, he knew he'd have to come clean. He's used to dealing with trained men. When he saw my ruthless, relentless streak, he knew that I'd leave no turd unstoned.
I see, sir.
No turd unstoned in a pursuit of justice, but he mentioned this Mildred woman. Now, we need to check her out, see where she fits into all this.
She's dead, sir. She was murdered.
My God, Thompson, another one! Sheer shudder to think the lengths that they're going to. Now, if you think about it, I think Dorothy Foxtrot is our man.
Woman, sir?
What?
Dorothy Foxton's our woman, sir.
I was wondering how long it would take you to come round to my way of thinking. Yeah.
That wasn't exactly what I meant, sir. You see, you said...
What?
Oh, it doesn't matter, sir. I think there just might be 1 or 2 stones left to turn, sir.
You trying to be funny, Thompson?
Oh, no, sir.
Good. Let's suit you.
Here you are. Here are the fruit scones. Oh, I do hope you like strawberry jam. It is rather my favourite.
Oh, thank you, Miss Maple. Very kind, I'm sure.
Not while you're on duty, Thompson.
Oh, sorry, sir.
We've got an image to maintain. If you want to do something useful, fetch the gun.
Yes, sir.
It's in my car, and do something with this. Could be important evidence. Now, when Thompson returns, I'd like to do a little experiment. See if we can jog your memory, Miss Marbles.
Well, it might be helpful. You know, I'm feeling rather uneasy. Usually, at this stage, I have a little inkling.
Well, don't let me stop you, madam. It's
I must say, Inspector, I am absolutely delighted that you have eliminated me from your inquiry.
I wouldn't say that, Mrs. Marbles, or should I call you Mrs. Jones? I discount and illuminate no one.
Well, in that case, Inspector, I do think you ought to be more careful. If I were a deranged killer, I could just have eliminated you.
Oh, I ain't right. I'm a finely tuned crime fighting machine.
But I have seen so many cases of poisoning. Oh, it's a terrible way to die. I always find it such an underhand method.
Ah, Thompson, about time. Right. Come on. Right. I now intend to carry out a tried and trusted technique to see if we can jog Mrs. Marble's memory. It's what you might call a reconstitution. A reconstitution. So, Thompson, you be Miss Buckshot. I'll be the killer.
Yeah. I do remember her last words, you see. She said she was going into the dining room to fetch a book.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Plot thickens already.
Yeah.
All right then.
What do you want Johnson to be?
He's going to be Mrs. Buckshot.
Ah, right. Would you
I'll be the
like,
killer.
would you like me to be myself?
Yes, please. Yes.
Right. Well, you should be in the hall.
Yes, I know. I'm going.
Yes, and I'm over here. It's exciting.
I shall go to the dining room to find a book. Oh, you gave me such a shock. I see you found... Ah!
And I say, Mildred. Oh, how very careless, Inspector. You just shot Constable Tompkins.
This is absolutely ridiculous. We can't keep this cooped up here like this.
I suspect the inspector has some more questions for us upon his return.
Questions? That idiot wouldn't recognise a sensible question if one fell out of the sky and landed in his mouth.
With that, I have to agree.
Why don't you do something, Charles? Charles! Charles!
Oh, what a phone line. Prepare the fire. What's happened?
Absolutely nothing. That is the whole point.
Oh, must have nodded off there. Damn tricky moment. Surrounded. Regiment of French butlers. Very odd.
We do something about it then.
Not much I could do. Hopeless situation.
What?
Defenseless.
No, to get us out of here. 2 hours we've been waiting and absolutely nothing.
Expect they'll send somebody eventually. Due process and all that.
It's not as if we don't know who did it.
Well, I didn't do it. Why doesn't anybody believe me?
Come on, Charles. You're going to make a phone call.
Am I? Who to?
The police. Someone in authority. They can't keep us here like this.
Think they probably can, actually.
I am not going to be argued with. We'll use the phone upstairs in private. Come on. Charles!
All right. Coming, old girl.
And stop calling me old girl.
All right. Sorry, old girl.
Sir Dorothy, it appears as though your little scheme has come I'm glad.
What scheme?
To kill your aunt and have her money. The police suspect you.
They can't prove anything.
But I can give them all the evidence they need to hang you. I was passing by the top of the stairs and I saw your father shot.
That's not true, Pierre.
It matters little. They will believe me. I will say I did not come forward earlier because I was fond of you. But now I realise my duty.
But why, Pierre?
You have made my life much misery with your accusations of the painting. But maybe we could come to an agreement.
But I wasn't serious about the paintings. I only wanted enough money to reimburse my aunt. I wouldn't have taken all the money. Oh, Pierre, I only wanted to frighten you. I didn't want you to go to prison.
Stop, your motives matter little to me now. You are a wealthy woman. What I suggest is simple. You give me £20,000 and forget about the matter of the paintings. In return, I will forget what I saw. It is as easy as that.
Really? That's simple.
But of course, I knew you would listen to reason.
Fine. Well, now you listen to me, Pierre. I was wrong about you. I should have gone straight to the police instead of playing silly games. When they get back, I'm going to tell them everything.
But then I will be forced to tell them what I saw.
And why are they going to believe you? A cheap con man? You're pathetic!
Damn! Damn and blast!
Why, Pierre, that sounded ever so English.
It was about to get extremely Anglo-Saxon. And will you stop using that ridiculous accent? Nearly frightened me to death.
Becomes to be a bit of a habit after a while. Did it work then?
What do you think? It's going to tell the police everything.
You blew it, you bleeding blew it!
I did everything you said. We're going to have to get out of here fast.
What good would that do? We can get 5 miles down the road before they get us. There's only one way out.
We can't kill her.
Why not? Interfering bitch, you weren't that bothered about old Bagshot.
Mrs. Bagshot's different.
Why, you gone soft? Do you fancy your sight?
Of course I don't.
She's the only thing standing in our way. If she spills the beans, we've had it. We've got it perfect, you and me. I find the rich old buggers, you fleece them with their money. Why spoil it all?
Dunno, I need to think.
We ain't got time to think.
Perhaps you care to join us later for afternoon tea, Mrs.
Oh, it's not so dreadful about poor Miss Bagshot. Poor lady. No, why, Miss Maple, we were just saying about poor old Miss Bagshot.
Oh,
Tragic situation.
Quite tragic. Such a sad loss. You know, I partly blame myself. I seem to bring such misfortune. Oh, do sit down, dear. I do so love a cosy little chat.
Well, we were just about to take a turn around the garden. It's quite so claustrophobic in here, quite ghastly.
A walk? Oh, what a splendid idea. Would you mind awfully if I joined you?
No, delighted.
You see, I don't walk as briskly as I used to, but the countryside is so pleasant at this time of year. Of course, my nephew often escorts me, when he has the time.
How marvellous.
Yeah.
Boo! Boo!
Oh, my dear, are you feeling unwell?
I'm just a little fainting, but I often have them. It'll pass in a moment. Perhaps Pierre could take me to my room.
Oh, yeah.
It would be my pleasure.
Hello, everyone. What are you doing?
Mr. Butcher, I do believe you've been drinking.
I've had a drop. Would you like a sweep?
I don't believe so, but thank you very much. But I do really think you ought to sit down.
Don't want to. I'm sebrelating. It's the happiest day of my life.
Oh, no, I don't think you could mean that, Mr. Bunting.
Oh, but I do. I'm sebrelating because... Why am I sebrelating?
I really don't know, Mr. Bunting.
That's funny, neither do I. She's stuck up, she is. Hello, Frenchie. Would you like a sweet?
No.
No. Oui. No. Oui. I'm rich. She did it. I'm rich. That's what I'm separating.
There he is, Charles. Disgusting.
Hello. I I'm rich.
Do something to get him out of here before he breaks something.
Do my best. Come on, old boy.
Don't like you.
Good God! That's Napoleon brandy. I'd recognise it anywhere.
Does it matter?
Of course it matters. Damned waste. Come on, man. Can you walk?
Of course I can walk. I walk anywhere I want.
Bad boy, man. I've never seen such a thing.
We'll take him up to his room. Out of the way.
Oh my, I know. I'll make him a nice pot of tea. I always find it sobers me up enormously.
Well, what do you think?
I guess you're right.
Of course I'm right. And if we do it quick, we can blame that drunken old bugger and get away with murder.
There, Dorothy, how marvellous.
Looks as though Bunting's been enjoying himself. Perhaps you should have a drink, Pierre. You might not be getting one for a very long time where you're going.
Why, Pierre, are you taking a little trip? Somewhere exotic? Exciting?
I don't think it can be described as exotic. Do you, Pierre? Rather cheap, though. There's something you should know about Pierre, Elizabeth. And I need a little bit of insurance by telling someone.
Really? How intriguing.
These paintings are forgeries. He cheated my aunt. He tried to deny it, but I have all the proof I need. I have a written statement under lock and key in the safe. You weren't trying to do anything silly, were you, Pierre? There's no getting away with it now that Elizabeth knows.
Pierre, this can't be true. How ghastly.
Oh, it's true, all right, Elizabeth. And I believe he also sold paintings to your aunt. It wouldn't surprise me if they were forgeries too. Your father really ought to get those checked.
That's the trick, Miss Maple. Plenty of hot drinks down him.
Oh, Elizabeth.
Got the chap down there at last. Terrible thing is drink. Anyone care to join me for one? Suit yourselves. Of course, that chap's taken all the good stuff. Shouldn't really drink alone, you know. Leads to melancholy. All damn quiet. Anything the matter?
It's just so difficult to be enthusiastic about anything, Colonel, in the current circumstances.
Oh, yes, quite. So, glass of this wouldn't do you any harm. I expect you know a thing or two about drinking, Mr. Land of the Vineyard and all that.
Yeah, it is true we make the finest wines in the world, but I believe the fine wine should be taken in moderation to tantalize the palate.
Really? Strange attitude. Still, each to his own, I suppose.
If you will excuse me, I have some things to attend to.
Don't stray too far, Pierre.
Believe me, Dorothy, I will not.
Odd chap. Something damn suspicious about him. Foreign by all accounts. Ears too close together.
He's not what he seems, Colonel.
Really? I thought not. Still, I suppose none of us are. Take me, for example. Been doing a spot of thinking since poor old Mildred. Time to make a change. Life's too short for pretending.
You don't pretend, Colonel. I've never met anyone so honest.
Don't you believe it, my dear? All a front. Wasted my life. Never achieved a thing.
What about your adventures, India, and your stories?
Adventure? Only joined the army because I had to. Family tradition. Soon realised I wasn't up to it. Damn coward, you see. My father pulled a few strings and made sure I spent all my time sitting behind the desk.
Your stories about India, Colonel.
Only been there once. 2 weeks. Started making up little stories about myself. Made myself a little bit more interesting. Told them so many times I ended up believing in myself. Couldn't stop. Only Margaret knew the truth. And old Mildred, of course. So you see, I'm not what I seem either. I'm nothing but a fake.
Colonel. I know a fake when I can see one.
Knew this stuff would lead to melancholy. Still, I'll drunk it now. Here's to Mildred wherever she is.
Dorothy, darling, would you like to come upstairs? I've got a little present for you. Some perfume.
For me?
Yes. Well, we've not really seen eye to eye in the current circumstances. I just thought it might be nice if we were friends.
Oh, I'm not sure I am...
Go on, enjoy yourselves. You don't want to hang around here listening to an old duffer like me. Go on, get off with each other. Get off together. You know what I mean?
You're not an old duffer. You meant the world to my aunt.
Come on, Thompson, it's only a scratch. Come on.
It's all right if I sit down, sir. Oh, I'm feeling rather faint.
Faint? Don't know what's wrong with you, man. Superficial flesh wound. How about worse flea bites? Now, 2 minutes, then you're back on the job.
Don't know why you brought the chap down here. Ought to be resting. Don't want gangrene to set in.
I'm all right, sir. The inspector thought I ought to keep moving.
Pity you weren't moving a bit quicker a couple of hours ago.
I've had full weapons training, Colonel. I never miss.
Damn it, old man. It sounds as if you meant to hit the poor blighter. Foolhardy, if you ask me.
But I don't ask you, Colonel. And may I remind you that you're still under suspicion of being a suspect. Tread warily, sir.
Like him?
Do excuse us, Inspector, we're just nipping upstairs.
Very good, miss.
May I have a word with the inspector? Hello, Bagshot House? Yes, he is. Inspector, I have a call for you.
Oh, yeah, that'll be for me. Who is it?
The Deputy Chief Constable.
Oh, are you sure he wanted me? Did he ask for me by name? Maybe it's Thompson he needs to speak to.
I think his exact words were, "Is that idiot who's in charge of the investigation there?"
Oh, it is for you, sir.
Pratt. No, not you, sir. No. No, I'm Pratt. yeah, very apt, sir. Yeah. Well, it's only a scratch, really. Yeah. Same weapon, sir. Yeah. What, a complaint? Well, we're very close to an arrest. Well, very good, sir. Oh, still there. Yeah. Well, if you got your fat bottom out of that chair and got out of the job once in a while. Oh, I'm sorry, sir. I didn't realise you're still there. Yeah, very good, sir.
Oh, he sounded on good form, sir.
Yeah, he's very pleased with progress. Trouble is, somebody phoned him, made allegations. On your foot, Thompson, I want to get this cleared up. Now, according to what they're saying, you're not doing a very good job, Thompson. Incompetent, they're saying. Now that wouldn't be you, would it, Colonel? Are you the alligator?
As a matter of fact, old boy, I did make the odd call.
Troublemaker here. Watch him, Thompson.
I wouldn't take it personally, you know. I wasn't casting aspersions. I simply said that things seem to be dragging a bit at this end, and could they speed them up yours?
Speed things up? I'll speed things up so much you'll wish they weren't. What do you say to that, Colonel Haddock?
Oh no, it's you again, Sergeant.
Inspector?
Really? Got the impression from that telephone call that you're probably down to constable by now.
Thompson, if the Colonel opens his mouth again, book it.
Yes, sir. What for, sir?
Well, anything. Use your imagination, man. Disturbing the police, loitering in a tent.
May I ask when we're going to be allowed to be free, Inspector. I see no reason for our presence, and I'd rather like to get away before you shoot someone else.
Mrs. Haddock, don't push me any further. You can learn from this, Thompson. You'll face all sorts of provocation. So it's very important to keep a cool, clear, empty head. Otherwise, you'll cease to function as a finely tuned crime-fighting machine. I learned this from 20 years on the force.
And how many constables have you shot in that time?
Look him, Thompson, look him! No, I'm in charge.
Oh, good afternoon, Inspector. How pleasant. Oh, and Constable Tompkins too. I do hope your foot isn't giving you too much distress.
Oh, it is rather throbbing, but not too bad, Miss Maple.
Well, I'm not surprised. Bullet wounds can be quite unfortunate. I always recommend a poultice of cold herbal tea for any open wound.
Really? My Auntie Doris swears by boiled cabbage.
Do you mind, Thompson?
Sorry,
Oh,
sir.
well, I would be most interested in the cabbage preparation. Constable, perhaps you could give it to me later.
I'd like to continue.
Oh, mind you, the price of vegetables this time of year is quite prohibitive. Fortunately, I have my very own little vegetable plant.
Mrs. Marbles!
Oh, yes, Inspector.
May I be allowed to continue?
By all means, Inspector. I'd be most interested to hear your latest views on the progress.
Thank you.
Oh, before you commence, I have something I completely slipped my mind. I was wondering whether you and the constable here might be prepared to stay on for afternoon tea. You see, I telephoned Mr. Coupling in the village, and he's asked him to deliver here. You see, he really does make exceedingly fine cream fancies.
Is that all?
Oh dear, I fear I might have upset you. Oh, Inspector, perhaps you would have preferred an individual fruit tart.
I live in hope that we'll be well out of here before tea. So now I want to carry out an experiment. Fetch the gun, Thompson.
You're not fetching that thing in here with me.
Oh, rest assured, madam, there'll be no more incendiary incidents. I think Thompson here has learned his lesson.
Where is the gun, sir?
I don't know, I gave it to you.
Oh, I don't think so, sir. I was holding my foot at the time, if you remember.
I can confirm that, Inspector. I have a very good memory for details.
Well, perhaps I left it in the dining room then.
Oh, very good, sir.
Now, it occurs to me that the shot which perpetrated Miss Bogshot clean between the eyes was either an expert one or a very lucky one.
Hardly lucky for her, old boy.
Oh, well. Have any of you handled a gun before?
I have, obviously.
And why would that be so obvious, Colonel?
Well, I was in the army, of course.
Oh, really? Or why did you keep this such a closely guarded secret? What rank did you attain?
Passion, old man, it's general knowledge.
Oh, so you were a general, Colonel?
Don't talk balderdash, man. I was a colonel.
Yes. Then why did you try and confuse me? Why did you deceive me? And why did you try and confuse me with red addicts, Colonel Herring?
It's not there.
Oh, well, it must be.
Damn careless, if you ask me. Blighter wasn't loaded, was it?
Of course it wasn't loaded. What do you take me for, Colonel?
I have a sense of foreboding.
Ooh.
I suspect we may all be in terrible danger, Inspector. There's no knowing the actions of an unhinged mind.
Oh. Right, well, I think I've got about as far as I can here. I'll hand over to you now, Thompson. I'm on the back at the station, damn paperwork.
Can I have a word, sir?
Oh, what is it now, Thompson?
It's important, sir. In private, if we might, sir.
Would you all wait out in the hall, please? Come on, come on. Right, come on, Thompson. I'm a busy man, I haven't got much time.
Well, I think we've got the killer where we want him, sir.
Oh, yes. Yeah, a madman on the loose with a gun. He's got us exactly where he wants us.
Oh, well, I think we should send them all to their rooms, and then you say you're going to search their rooms.
Oh, very good. And I go into the Lions Burrow and find a madman with a gun pointed at my head.
Well, I don't think so, sir. I think whoever's got the gun will panic and dispose of the gun out through the window. Now, all their rooms face the front of the house, so I was thinking of taking a hobble onto the drive, sir.
What for?
Well, to see where the gun comes from, sir.
Has its merits, I suppose. But I wouldn't want you getting your foot cold, Thompson. So you search the rooms and I'll keep a lookout.
Very good, sir.
Come on then, Tompkins.
Thompson, sir?
Off you go then.
Would you all go to your rooms straight away, please? Thank you.
It's about work, man.
Inspector!
Yes, Miss Foxtrot?
Oh, at last I have you alone, Inspector. I have a score to settle. It's time for retribution. I have a confession to make.
Oh no, there's really no need. We can do a deal.
What sort of a deal?
Anything you like. You can just walk out of here. I'll pretend I've never seen you. I won't say a word. You can borrow my car if you like.
No, Inspector. It must finish now.
Oh no, please, Miss Foxons. I'm just a poor copper trying to get through to retirement. I wouldn't hurt a fly. Think of me family. 2 little brats. I won't tell anyone you're the murderer.
I'm not the murderer, Inspector. I have some information for you. I'm sorry, I'm finding this all so upsetting.
Not the murderer?
No, Inspector.
Oh, well, what it was, you see, I was concerned about this rather nasty stain on your carpet. I think the little war mortar will sort that out for you. But this information, does it concern the identity of the brutal killer and murderer?
Not exactly, no.
Well, it can wait. I have little time, and at this very moment I'm formulating a plan to flush out the miscreant.
But...
Yeah, it can wait 5 minutes, I'm sure.
5 minutes, yes, Inspector. I didn't mean to frighten you, Inspector.
You didn't frighten Miss Foxhole. No, it was just a cunning ploy on my part to try and get you to make a run for it. Right then. Right, come in, Thompson. Ready or not? Thompson! Interesting. Very interesting. Now, you all maintain that when the shots were fired, you were in your rooms.
Except for me, old boy. I nipped outside for a spot of fresh air.
And me, sir. I was in the downstairs lavatory.
Yeah, I was quite aware of that, Tom. I bet you didn't get out of there a bit faster.
Well, it was rather difficult, sir. When I opened the door, the Colonel was holding the gun in the firing position. I thought my number was up.
What number?
Oh, it's just the same, sir.
Can you explain this, Colonel?
Simple, really. It's the same as blah, blah, blah. Thought I'd had it. Had my chips.
Chips? No. Why you had the gun?
Oh, I see what you mean. I get you now. I lost then. Spot spotted the gun and picked it up.
Oh, that's when I saw him, sir.
I'm quite aware of that, Thompson.
Oh, sorry, sir, I was just trying to clarify the events.
When I want clarity, I'll ask for it. I usually manage with that. So, Colonel, did you see anyone else?
Oh, they were all on the stairs, with the exception of the butler chap.
It all happened so quickly, Inspector. Suddenly, we were all together on the staircase. I remember calling out to Mrs. Craddock.
And do you recall what you called when you were calling?
It's so difficult. I think it was, "There's another one gone." So, and if you hadn't mislaid the gun...
Right, yeah, Butler Bumston, you were in your basement at the time.
I wasn't feeling very well, so I think I must have caught something.
Serious case of brandy, if you ask me.
Did you hear anything?
Didn't hear anything, sir. I must have dropped off.
Dropped off what?
Oh, he was virtually unconscious on his bed, sir, when I checked on him.
I think it must be the flu, sir. May I be excused for a moment?
What for?
It is rather urgent, sir.
Oh, that'll be the phone.
Constable Tompkins, Bagshot House. Oh, I'm feeling much better, thank you, sir. The Sergeant? Yes, sir, just a moment. Sarge, it's for you, it's the Deputy Chief Constable.
Hello, it's Pratt, yeah. I'm afraid so, sir. Well, that wasn't exactly under my nose, sir. Yeah. Same weapon, sir, yeah. What, immediately? Immediately? Oh, very good, sir. Well,
He didn't sound very pleased, sir.
no, you're going to be in a lot of hot water about this, Thompson, I can tell you. Now, I want to get this tied up once and for all. I'm wanted back at the station, another important case.
Well, we won't detain you then, old boy.
Oh, not so fast, Colonel. You sit down there. Now, I've been reflecting about something you said, Miss Marbles. You said that shortly before Mrs. Bogshot was shot, she went into the dining room looking for a book.
Yes, Inspector.
Well, I took the trouble to interrogate the bookcase. And when I did so, I found one volume separate for the rest, which caught my eye. And I believe it's in this book that the answer to our mystery lies. The Art of Macrame! Does this mean anything to you? Does this mean anything to you? You disappoint me. See, I felt sure that this book held the key. And at a guess, I'd say this is the key to the front door.
Oh, I think you'll find it's a safe key, Inspector.
But of course, Miss Marbles, why would we anticipate danger from a mere key?
The key to the safe.
The safe? Oh, precisely what I was thinking, Miss Marbles, yeah. So, without further ado, I shall go and, to use a proverb, unlock the proverbial panda's box. Where's the safe, Thompson?
I believe I can assist you if you allow me the honour of assisting you.
Oh, why, thank you, monsieur. You're very kind.
Sarge?
Oh, stop fussing, Thompson. Pity you don't show that kind of initiative.
I think you'll find the contents of the safe unimportant, Inspector. I believe I know the identity of the murderer.
You do?
Oh, I have come across many similar cases, and this particular one seems to follow a particular pattern.
Not quite so. Continue, Mrs. Marbles, because I suspect your suspicions confirm these suspicions what I already suspect?
Well, I believe that Mrs. Bagshot had a half-brother of Romanian nationality. A half-brother who was rejected by his family and took refuge in Albania, where he mixed with dubious company. He had an illegitimate daughter by the name of Elana. Scorned and humiliated by the family for many years, they plotted to take revenge and inherit a fortune. It is my belief that Mr. Bunting is that man, and Elizabeth is his daughter.
What a ridiculous suggestion. You can't possibly believe her, Inspector.
Well, as a matter of fact, I do. It's a line of investigation I've been following for some time. Would you care to share your proof, Mrs. Marbles?
Oh no, I'm afraid that's not possible, Inspector.
Oh, don't be so modest.
But I have none.
What?
No. I was merely postulating, Inspector. Usually, when I make my great revelations, the murderer immediately breaks down and confesses all. Unfortunately, on this occasion, I seem to have failed.
You mean you made it all up?
Oh, absolutely, Inspector. Well, I thought it was worth a try.
Mrs. Marbles, do you realise the seriousness of your rash pustule? I could have you charged with a very... Well, I could have you charged with... I could have you charged with a very serious offence.
I am sorry, Inspector, but unfortunately I bring bad news. The safe was empty apart from a small amount of money, a mere trifle.
Thank you.
Trifle?
I hope. Still, better hang on to this. Could be important evidence.
No copy of the will, I suppose.
We've covered all the possibilities of the will, Thompson.
But Sarge, everything's changed. The Colonel now stands to inherit the estate.
Does he? Do you?
So it would seem, old boy.
What, Charles? What are you saying?
Well, no doubt a surprise, but then you weren't aware that your husband had been carrying on a long-term relationship with Miss Bogshot.
Relationship? With Mildred? I can assure you that my husband has never had any kind of relationship. Not even with me. Tell him, Charles.
I'm afraid I can't, old girl. It's true.
Stop it, Charles. Stop it now.
Really, Inspector, this is too much. I gave you information in the strictest possible confidence.
Regrettable, but inevitable. Another crime has been perpetuated. Over a great many years, your husband carried out a lustful, sinful, pestilential relationship with Miss Bogshot. As a token of her doom, she changed the provisions of her will, made certain provisions, and then with the death of Miss Foxtrot, Colonel Codling here became major beneficiary.
Could you, Charles? How could you do it to me?
I think that concludes the investigation.
Are you sure, Sarge?
Absolutely, Thompson. Colonel here, Major here, came with the express intention of killing the two ladies of the house. He did so with ruthless cunning, expecting to outwit the forces of the law. But he didn't count on me.
This ain't preposterous!
I think not. You were close to the scene of the crime on both occasions. Shortly before Mrs. Bogshot was shot, she cried out, "Say you found!" And as I deducted at the time, she was about to cry out, "Your gun!" the gun which you were holding.
Actually, I deduced that, Sarge.
Don't try and be so clever, Thompson. Miss Foxtrot's last words were, "He's trying to kill me." He! You again, Colonel. Neither Butler Bumsting nor Mr. Marseilles here had anything to gain from killing her. Charge him, Thompson. Charge him. Go on. Now, you accused me of being incompetent, Major. You were the first to cast assertions. Now you'll find out how incompetent I really am.
My husband may be an adulterer, Sergeant, but you're very wrong about one thing.
I think not. I'm really, really wrong.
My husband wasn't the only one with a motive for killing Dorothy. Ask Pierre, or perhaps I should say Peter. When my husband was talking to your superior, I came downstairs and I overheard Pierre and Elizabeth talking about Dorothy. She seemed to have some kind of evidence over them. They were plotting to kill her.
But this is ridiculous. How can you say such a thing?
Inspector, you can't possibly believe the woman. She's deranged. She's obviously just protecting her husband.
And it's time you quit those phony accents. He is no more French than you are, Sergeant, and she is nothing but a common trollop.
I will not stay here a moment longer and listen to this.
Just a moment, Miss. Sarge, I think these two have got some explaining to do.
I think I may be able to help, Inspector. I do recall now that Mildred was rather concerned. Something to do with those paintings.
Not real paintings, of course. Copies supplied by him.
Oh, they are in it together.
So, the thick plottings.
Pierre, don't say a thing. It's all been a ghastly misunderstanding.
What are your pre-real and proper names?
It's no use, Elizabeth. The game's up.
Fool! Well, you're not having me!
Grab her, Thompson!
You can't prove a thing!
Gotcha! Francie, I've arrived just in the nick of time. I expect my new Keystone Cops, eh, Sergeant?
Hold on to her, Major. Pull yourself together, Thompson. Now, Mr. Marseilles, come and tell me all about it.
Elizabeth and I have been working together. 2 years ago, we sold Mrs. Bagshot those paintings, except before dispatch, we swapped the copies for the originals. Dorothy found out to try to blackmail us.
So you mortally killed her?
We didn't hurt anyone.
I think I'll be the judge of that.
I told Mildred there were copies. Blighter must have overheard.
So you incurably murdered them to save your own skins?
We haven't
As
killed...
I suspected from the start.
We haven't killed anyone.
Oh, you say that, but that would never stand up in a court of legal law. You should have been more careful. You know what put me onto you? It was when you came out here and said you found a trifle in the safe. The ramblings of a madman. So, I conclude my conclusions. A classically conducted criminal investigation, which will be recorded in the annals of criminal crime. 2 young innocents, murdered to death. Take him away, Thompson, and I'll handle Miss Hartley trumping thing here. Afternoon all.
How shocking! And they seemed such a fine young couple. It never ceases to amaze me, the depths to which the human spirit will sink.
I knew that Blighter looked suspicious. I spot him a mile off.
I shall instruct Bunting to fetch my bags downstairs.
Wait a minute, old girl, I can explain it.
Oh,
I don't suppose she'll want to listen anyway.
give her time, Colonel. Time is a great healer of wounds, both physical and mental.
She's never been one for patience. Hard to explain to a woman how a chap feels. Dashed awkward. Pity women aren't a bit more like chaps. Made life a lot simpler.
Perhaps you could stay here for the moment, Colonel. Don't forget, soon all this will belong to you.
I can't even think about it at the moment. Too gas confused. Own fault. Shouldn't have carried on with Mildred. Bad form.
Don't be too hard on yourself, Colonel. We all have our weaknesses, affairs. The sensuous curve of a young girl's breast. The half-concealed curve of a virgin's thigh.
I'm taking the car, Charles. You can make your own travel arrangements. I shall have your things delivered to the club and you'll be hearing from my solicitor.
Just a moment, Mildred. No need to go off in a half light, Margaret. No need to go off in a half light. Sit down. We can have a bit of a chinwag.
There is nothing to discuss.
Look, old girl.
Don't you dare old girl me. 35 years we've been married, and from day one it's been old girl this and old girl that.
Didn't realise it upset you, old girl. Sorry.
There's a lot of things you've never realised, Charles. Too busy making up your pathetic stories. Too busy trying to impress your friends at the club. Too busy to notice me.
You didn't complain. Too much. Thought you were reasonably content.
Content? God, I don't know what Mildred saw in you. Unless you were different with her.
I don't think so.
I've been trapped, Charles. Trapped no way out until now. Do you realise that you've suddenly become a very wealthy man? And I am going to squeeze every last penny out of you. What do you say to that?
You seem a spot upset, old girl.
You're pathetic, Charles, pathetic.
I'll make it up to you, Scout's honour and all that. I don't know where I'd be without you.
It's too late for that, much too late. And I've got everything I came for.
What do you mean, everything you came
That's
for?
not important.
What do you mean?
You knew about Mildred and your husband before you came here.
That is no concern of yours, and it makes no difference now.
And I suspect you knew about the will.
So what if I did?
Oh, I have been so stupid. If you overheard Elizabeth and Pierre plotting to murder Dorothy, why didn't you say something straight away? You wanted her dead.
You're very clever, Miss Maple. Yes, I wanted her dead, but I didn't kill her.
But you killed Mildred. Yes, that's what she was trying to say. So, you have found your husband's gun.
That's quite enough. It can't be true. Margaret wouldn't be capable of harming anyone. She wouldn't know how.
Even now, you underestimate me.
Margaret, you don't know what you're saying.
Oh, yes, I do. Yes, I did kill Mildred.
No!
That shocks you. Good. I found out about Mildred and you from one of your so-called friends at the club. He even passed on some of your letters from you to her. I found out about the will. Suddenly I had a lucky chance. I could divorce a wealthy man.
The estate was left to Dorothy.
Unfortunately, I only found out about that at the beginning. And it wasn't until I came here that I heard the last part.
And that's when you realised that Dorothy had to die.
Oh, quite. I had wanted to leave it for a respectable time, and then I had a stroke of luck. I overheard Pierre and Elizabeth talking. It was perfect. All I had to do was sit and wait.
And they killed her for you.
Oh, no, you're not that clever, Miss Maple.
No, it wasn't you.
He didn't kill her.
It wasn't you because she said he is trying to kill me.
And so he was.
But who?
Me.
Mr. Bertie. But why?
Charles was quite right about one thing. He had seen Robert before somewhere. In my bed.
Bunting? But it's not Bunting, is it? It's Benson! Mess orderly! You ran off the same night with the mess cellar!
That's right.
Bob Buggery Benson! That's what we used to call him. But that was so over 20 years ago!
28 to be exact, Charles. My one night of passion and excitement in a dreary marriage. I recognised Robert as soon as I arrived here. It was very convenient. He was quite happy to help for a proportion of the profits. After I shot Mildred, he took me in the cellar and up the back stairs.
I don't understand. Why did he have to kill her when somebody else was going to do it for you?
Oh, Robert almost bungled that. When I explained that Dorothy was to be killed, he was too drunk to understand, and he thought that he had to do it. He poked his head up from the basement, shot her, and then feigned unconsciousness. We were very lucky to get away with that.
Oh, but you haven't, my dear. Oh, no, we know all about it.
Get away from that!
Oh.
I think I'll have to arrange a little adventure for you both. A tragic accident. Over the cliff in the car, I think.
Oh no! Not the Bentley!
A little embarrassing coming so soon after all the other killings. But then the police already have the murderers. And it does have its advantages. We get to keep the money.
You can't mean it, oh girl!
Oh, just watch me, darling. Keep them covered, Robert.
Ah, Mr. Bumsting, I was wondering where Thompson left that. Thank you very much indeed.
Oh, no, Inspector, you've got the wrong ones.
I don't
Inspector,
know.
look.
Shut up!
He's not. Oh, after them, Inspector, they are the murderers. No, not in there, Inspector. Look, they're outside now.
Come on, Thompson, after them. Come on, mate, you can hop faster than that. Right, out of the way, man. Is there a doctor in the house? Thompson seems to have injured his other foot. Come on, Thompson.